Hey everyone, Jake here for Extreme Terrain, and in this video we're taking a look at the PowerStop Z36 Extreme Truck and Tow front and rear brake rotor and pad kit fitting 2020 and newer JT Gladiators. If you're looking for the ultimate upgrade to your brakes, you can stop right here, because this Z36 kit from PowerStop is going to tick all the boxes for you. It's perfect for the owner who's going to be using their Gladiator to its full extent. Whether that be hauling, towing, or hitting the trails, this kit is going to give you everything you need to stop on a dime. PowerStop is a company that is founded on exactly what their name implies, and that is brakes and braking components. They are solely focused on these things, and it shows in the quality of their products. Now, the Z36 Extreme kit I have here today is no exception. This is a high quality, heavy duty kit that's going to give you everything you need to upgrade your JT's brakes. Now, there's lots to talk about here, but we're going to start with the rotors. Now, these are obviously of the drilled and slotted variety. Now, most Jeeps come from the factory with solid discs, and they work fine in most applications, but if you're doing a lot of heavy duty stuff, which is what the Gladiator is predisposed to do, such as towing, the extra heat dissipation that these are going to provide will not go unnoticed. Now, heat is the enemy of braking performance, and having the slots and drilled holes in the faces of the rotors here are going to be great for dissipating heat, as it gives that heat plenty of places by which to escape. It channels it off the faces of the rotors and away from the pads. And if you've ever had brakes get hot on you, you know that that is not a fun experience. So doing everything you can to avoid that is a good idea. But rotors can only do so much without having good pads to back them up, and the brake pads in this kit are sort of the unsung heroes. Now, the Z36 pads are made with PowerStop's own proprietary carbon fiber ceramic compound. Now, these are designed for severe duty, such as hauling or towing. They're going to be good at dissipating heat while still maintaining everyday drivability. Now, lots of uprated brake pads lead to a compromise when it comes to regular use, such as when you're driving around town with the family. However, that's not the case here. There's virtually no compromise in brake performance or feel, and in fact, PowerStop claims that these guys are nearly dust-free. Now, no brake pad is entirely dust-free just due to the nature of how they work, but these are a super low dust formula. It's going to keep your wheels a lot cleaner, which is especially great if you've got some nice aftermarket wheels on your rig, or you just hate cleaning wheels like I do. Now, these pads are also thermal scorched for faster break-in, and they feature stainless steel shims for excellent heat dissipation and nearly silent operation. They're also chamfered on the edges, and they have this slot down the center too, again to help keep them quiet. And when I say that these don't compromise, I mean that entirely. I've got a set of these brakes on my own truck, and they have been everything PowerStop claims and more. They also include new stainless steel hardware in the kit to give you peace of mind that you've got all new brake hardware, so before you hit the road, you'll know that you'll be able to stop quickly and safely. The rotors here are made using something called G3000 metallurgy. So what this means is that the metal has a higher percentage of carbon in it. And like the veins and holes in the faces, this composition is extremely helpful in dissipating heat. Seeing the theme here, these rotors also have a silver zinc plating, as you can see, which is going to help prevent rust and corrosion. So not only are they going to look good, but they're also going to perform well for a long time. Those pads, again, are going to utilize PowerStop's proprietary carbon fiber ceramic compound. Again, excellent heat dissipation, consistent performance and feel, and low dust. And the stainless steel shims on the back make again for quiet operation and also excellent heat resistance. Again, seeing the theme. You also get all new stainless steel hardware again, and you get high temp lubricant included in the kit. So this is going to give you everything you need right there in the box for a full-on brake job. Pricing for this kit is going to come in at about $750, and while that's not what you might call cheap, it is actually the most affordable front and rear kit that includes drilled and slotted rotors. Good brakes rarely come cheap, and this is not a place you want to skimp if your truck sees a lot of usage. If you're overlanding, if you're loading it up with a lot of equipment, or if you're towing, it is worth reiterating here that there's a lot of good science and technology that are baked into these rotors and pads that are going to make your Jeep stop a lot better and make it much more safe for you to operate out on the road. Plus, again, this is going to come with everything you need to get this job done and provide you with vastly improved braking performance on your truck. Now, there's a few places on my own vehicle in which I believe it's worth spending the big bucks. And again, I'll throw in my own personal recommendation here and say that I'm running a set of Z36s on my own truck, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, both in daily driving and when it comes to towing, that these are definitely worth it if you've got the room in your budget. Installation is going to come in at a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and installing this kit is definitely a job you can accomplish at home. Expect it to take you around 3 hours or so to complete. And even if you haven't done brakes before, this is a pretty straightforward job, something you can do just with common hand tools at home in your driveway or garage. Not much more I can say about it here, so with that, why don't we head on out to the shop and we'll walk you through the process.
The tools you'll need for this project are an impact gun or a 1/2-inch drive ratchet, a 3/8 drive ratchet, a T30 Torx bit, a 10, a 13, an 18, and a 21 millimeter socket, a small flathead screwdriver, a caliper hanging device, some brake cleaner, a clean cloth, the supplied brake lube, and a couple of caliper compression tools. Hi everyone, today we're installing a set of brakes on our Gladiator, so let's get started with the uninstall of the stock brakes. The first thing we're going to do is remove our caliper and then hang it off to the side to keep it out of the way. So we're going to use our 13 millimeter socket to remove the bolt at the top of the caliper and at the bottom. Once we do that, we can just lift our caliper straight off and then hang it off to the side to keep it out of the way. Now we'll go ahead and remove our brake pads so that we can remove our caliper mounting bracket and get that out of the way to get our rotor. So to get our pads out, we're just going to slide them to the outside and lift them away. Now we're going to use our 21 millimeter socket to remove the bolt here and here so we can lift our caliper mounting bracket out of the way. And now we'll use a T30 Torx bit to remove this retaining bolt right here on the rotor, and then we can just pull the rotor straight out. Now before we actually install this, I know it looks like it is installed. It's just up there for display purposes right now. But because these are slotted and drilled rotors, you have to make sure that you've got the correct rotor on the correct side of the vehicle. And one way to tell that, obviously there's a sticker on here that says front driver's side. But if that sticker is missing, what you can do is look at the direction of the slots and the holes. As long as they start towards the center and go out towards the rear of the vehicle, you know you've got the correct one. So looking at that, we know we've got the correct one. So now what we're going to do is we want to clean our rotor so that we've got a clean surface for the pads to mate to once we get everything installed. So to do that, what I like to do is put it on backwards first. That way we can clean the inside of the rotor, and then we'll flip it over, clean the outside, and go ahead and get this installed. So we're just going to use some brake cleaner and a clean cloth, and we'll spray this all down to remove any manufacturing residue or anything that may have gotten on it during shipping. So we'll just spray this down and then wipe it with our clean cloth. And now we can flip it over. And clean the outside. Now we'll go ahead and reinstall our Torx screw to hold it in place while we finish the install. Now next thing we're going to do is replace our spring retaining clips here on the caliper mounting bracket, and we're also going to replace the rubber boots for the guide pins. So to remove the retaining clips, we're just going to pull up on that and use a small flathead screwdriver to just go ahead and pry that off. So just slide our screwdriver in and pop it off. And do the same thing for all the rest of them. Now we go ahead and install the new ones. Now you want to keep in mind that on one side, well, you want to make sure that this little spring clip here is always on the outside of the mounting bracket. And you want to make sure that this long ear right here is going up against this bar. So we'll put that in place and it just snaps in. Now to replace these rubber boots, it's just as difficult as replacing the springs. So we're just going to grab a hold of the boot, pull out the guide pin, and then just simply pull off the boot. And we'll install the new one, making sure that the end of it, of course, locks into the ring. Now normally, we would tell you to use the supplied lube that comes with this. Put a little bit of lube on the guide pins. Ours are pretty clean and also quite lubed. So then you can just slide this back in. Make sure that the other end seats all the way down. And then do the same thing for the other side. Now also, before you put the new pads in, you want to open up your lube, put a little bit on the inside of these retaining clips here. That way it'll help it slide and everything will work normally like it's supposed to. Now you also want to put a little bit of this on the back side of all the pads as well so that nothing sticks and binds once you're operating the brakes. Now we'll go ahead and reinstall our caliper mounting bracket using the original hardware. And we'll tighten it down with our 21mm socket. Now we'll go ahead and slide our new pads in. Now we'll go ahead and press them up against the rotor as far as we can so we can get ready to install our caliper over top. Now at this point, you're going to need to compress the pistons in the caliper all the way in as far as they can go because the new pads and rotor are probably going to be thicker than what you took off of there. So to do this, you're going to need a dual piston caliper compression tool that you can rent at most auto parts stores. And the way this works is it's going to press against the outside edge of the caliper and the pistons themselves and push the pistons back into the caliper. So we'll just set this on side like this and then just start squeezing the handle until the pistons are completely compressed back into the caliper. Once you've got that done, go ahead and release the tension and go ahead and slide it over the pads. Now we can go ahead and re-secure the caliper to the mounting bracket using the original hardware. And we'll tighten it down with our 13mm socket. And now you can repeat that whole process for the other side. Now the rears are going to be very similar to the fronts. We're going to remove the 2 bolts holding our caliper to the mounting bracket. Using our 10mm socket, we'll lift that out of the way, remove our pads. Then we'll use our 18mm socket to remove our caliper mounting bracket. And then we'll use a T30 Torx bit to remove the retaining bolt here and slide our rotor off. Hang our caliper up out of the way. Now we can slide our pads out. Now we'll remove our retaining bolt with our T30 Torx bit. And now we can go ahead and remove our rotor simply by pulling it out. And just like the fronts, we'll go ahead and clean our rotor off. Only this time we'll also make sure that we do the inside as well, since that is where the parking brake resides. Now again, you want to check, make sure the direction of the slots and the holes are correct, starting from the inside, going towards the back of the vehicle. Reinstall our retaining bolt. And now we'll tighten it down with our T30 Torx bit. And now we'll go ahead and replace our retaining clips here. Again, using our flathead screwdriver, pop those out. And we'll pop the new ones in. Now again, you'll want to use the lube that's provided in the kit to put some on the inside where the pads will slide against it, and also on the back side of the pads, making sure, of course, that you don't get any on the pad surface itself. Now let's go ahead and get this installed. So we'll slide our mounting bracket into place, secure it with the original hardware. And we'll tighten it down with our 18mm socket. Now we can go ahead and install our pads. And just like the fronts, we're going to need a caliper compression tool. Only this time, we need a single piston caliper. So again, we'll slit this inside the caliper like so. Squeeze the handle until the piston goes all the way in. Press the release handle. And now we're ready to slide our caliper over our new pads. And we'll secure them with the original hardware. And we'll tighten it down with our 10mm socket. And now you can go ahead and repeat this whole process for the other side. And remember, when you're all finished, make sure you torque everything down to manufactured recommended specs, and then pump the brakes a couple of times just to get the pads to go ahead and seat against the rotor before you follow your brake manufacturer's suggested break-in procedure. And that wraps up our review and install of the PowerStop Z36 Extreme Truck and Tow Brake Rotor and Pad Kit for the front and rear of your 20 to 24 Jeep Gladiator JT. Thanks for watching, and remember, for all things Gladiator, keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.